Hey! The Cinematic Flashbacks welcomes you to the channel. Today I'm going to explain The Departed. In South Boston, Colin Sullivan is introduced to Irish mob boss Frank Costello. 20 years later, Sullivan has been groomed as a spy inside the Massachusetts State Police, MSP, and joins the Special Investigations Unit, led by Captain Ellerby. Another new officer, State Trooper Billy Costigan Jr., is recruited by Captain Queenan and Staff Sergeant Dignam to go undercover and infiltrate Costello's crew. Ellerby informs Special Investigations that only Queenan and Dignam will know their undercover's names. Costigan's emotional state declines, but Queenan and Dignam plead with him to keep his cover. Costigan tells the MSP that Costello's crew is selling stolen computer microprocessors to a Hong Kong triad. The MSP sets up a sting, but Sullivan tips off Costello, allowing everyone to escape. Costello realizes there is a spy in his crew and tasks Sullivan to find him. Sullivan asks Costello for information on his crew to cross-reference against the MSP database. Meanwhile, Costigan learns that Costello is a protected FBI informant, and Costello accuses Costigan of being the spy, which he denies. Costigan shares his discovery with Queenan and warns him that Costello is aware of a spy in his ranks. Dignam tells him that he believes Costello has his own spy in the MSP. Other than Queenan and Dignam, Costigan's only contact in the MSP is his police-appointed psychiatrist, Madeline Madden, who is also Sullivan's girlfriend. Costigan and Madeline later have an affair. Costigan follows Costello into a theater and witnesses him giving Sullivan an envelope. Queenan instructs Costigan to get a visual ID of Sullivan, but he is unable to get a good look at Sullivan's face. When Sullivan realizes that he is being followed, he mistakenly stabs a restaurant worker and flees. Sullivan tries to cross-reference Costigan's picture, captured by nearby security footage, against police officer databases, but cannot identify him. Queenan advises Sullivan to follow Costello to find the MSP mole. Costigan calls Queenan and sets up a meeting, but Sullivan has Queenan followed, lying to the other officers that Queenan may be the spy. Sullivan also calls in Costello's gang to the meeting location. When Costello's men arrive, Queenan helps Costigan escape before being thrown from the building's roof to his death. Angered by Queenan's murder, Dignam blames and attacks Sullivan and is suspended by Ellerby. One of Costello's wounded henchmen, Timothy Delahant, tells Costigan that he knows Costigan is the rat, but instead of alerting the others, he succumbs to his injury. Newspapers report that Delahant was an undercover officer for the Boston police, but Costello suspects the police department made up the claim so he would stop looking for the mole. Sullivan also learns that Costello is an FBI informant and decides to turn on him. Costello is tailed by the MSP to a cocaine drop-off, where a gunfight erupts, killing most of Costello's crew. Sullivan confronts Costello, who admits to being an FBI informant, and fatally shoots him. His assignment finished, Costigan goes to Sullivan to reveal his undercover status. He notices Costello's envelope of gang member information on Sullivan's desk and escapes. Sullivan realizes that Costigan knows and erases Costigan's records from police computers. Costigan hands Madeline an envelope and instructs her to open it if something happens to him. Later, she innocently opens a package Costigan sent to Sullivan and listens to tapes Costello made of himself with Sullivan, causing her to leave Sullivan. Costigan arranges to meet Sullivan on the rooftop where Queenan was killed, then arrests him. Costigan calls Trooper Brown, a friend from the police academy, to substantiate his identity, but Brown pulls a gun on Costigan when he arrives, unsure who is telling the truth. Costigan says that he has evidence tying Sullivan to Costello, and Brown lets him go down the elevator. Upon reaching the lobby, Costigan and Brown are killed by Trooper Berrigan, a friend of Sullivan's who reveals himself to be another spy working for Costello. Sullivan shoots Berrigan dead, allowing him to out Berrigan as the mole while removing suspicion from himself. When Sullivan arrives home after attending Costigan's funeral, Dignam is waiting for him. Sullivan accepts his fate and Dignam shoots him in the head.
Thanks for watching. Consider subscribing.